Hey folks, Papa Boris here, playing some more Krumit's Tale. I had grand designs for a series on this game about 2018, and I never really got to do most of it because my son was born, and so I had to put things on hold for a while. And now I don't really want to do a full series climbing all the way from New Game 0 to New Game 9. However, I love this game a lot. I've played it for many hours. It's one of my top played games in my Steam library. So I thought, I need to at least finish this off right. What I'm going to do is a New Game 9 run with each of the characters. And I'll have that on my channel. I'll feel pretty good about it. So if you're playing on the maximum difficulty, or for that matter, any difficulty, and you're struggling to proceed, a good character to focus on is Bruno. He's not, in my opinion, the strongest. I'd say he's in the middle of the 5 on just pure power, but he is the simplest to understand. The strategy behind Bruno, I think, is easier to grasp than a winning strategy from any of the other characters. Since it's my first video in this series, I do want to briefly go over what happens when you play on the hardest difficulty of this game. So you start with 2 less health, fine. Items are a bit more expensive, fine. Start with a couple of curses in the second dungeon, fine. If you can beat the base game, you can beat New Game +3, no sweat. New Game +4 is where things go crazy. When you give enemies +1 health, it makes it so that it takes an extra attack to kill them, which means they attack you an extra time, which I'd say New Game +4 is where you get a really sudden change and a major difficulty spike. Then New Game +5, if you can beat New Game +4, you can beat New Game +5. This is not a huge deal in my opinion, that you get a little bit less healing from discarding tiles. That shouldn't be something that you rely on to win anyway. If you are, then your run's going badly. But then we get to New Game 6. Starting with 50% less health, in addition to enemies hitting you an extra time, is a real squeeze. This is the next big difficulty spike in my opinion. New Game 7, a couple extra curses, fine. And then New Game 8... bosses have more health. That one, I would say it's not as big of a spike as 4 or 6, but you definitely feel it. It really puts the squeeze on you to figure out how you're going to kill the bosses, because 20% more health on an enemy that has a lot of health to begin with is quite a lot. And then there's New Game 9. This one, it just hurts. It just hurts to see something really amazing out of your reach, but I would say this is not a huge difficulty spike simply because it only really matters 1/3 of the time, or a quarter of the time in the case of the perks, and the value of it is really just the difference between that tile and the second best tile. So even if that is a tile that you would have picked, if the second best choice is close, this one doesn't hurt you as bad, and sometimes you can just luck your way out of it. Whereas there's no lucking your way out of bosses having more health, you having less health, and enemies requiring an extra attack to hit. Okay, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So Bruno is not the best at beating the first level, but he is pretty good. With this stamp, he gets 2 health anytime he picks up an item that grants block, and that actually makes this bucket a really good item because it costs 1 gold, gives 2 health from his stamp, and then another effective 3 health. Even if you're not causing enemies to be stunned by parrying them, this is still just 3 health. So it's 5 health for 1 gold, and maybe sometimes you parry, and that's extra good. Now, we're in the Gobloid town, which means that the enemies are all these Gobloids. They hit for 3, then 2, then 2. They have 5 health, and of course the blitz attack is a problem. So you gotta make sure you kill them before they get back around to the first blitz attack. So what I'm gonna do here is, since you can't start off killing a Gobloid, it'll hit you for 3, and then it won't die on the second attack. That's the +1 health coming into play. Otherwise, I could have taken 3 damage and then killed it on the second attack. So what I like to do is I like to sell these slashes. Just don't mess around. I mean, they're just terrible. I'm never gonna use them, and I'm also gonna grab the chest. On the hardest difficulty, the odds of being able to keep this around and get the bonus gems at the end are very low. And by the way, that is the thing. You want to try to keep as many of your tiles as possible, because each tile that you keep gives you 5 bonus gems, and that matters a lot to get the things you need from the shop. So now we're going to buy the bucket and the chainmail, and this will give us some kills, because we can actually parry with the bucket and the chainmail. And then, because this enemy thankfully has a 3rd attack that isn't blitz, you get the kill on that. And I am actually going now to grab a sword. So the sword is a useful one here because what it allows you to do is kill this enemy in 2 hits. 1 normal hit and then the sword. And that allows me to use my health as a resource. Health, of course, is a very valuable resource in this game because it means you don't have to use up as many tiles. Okay, and so now we have our puzzle of, okay, what do we get next in order to make as much progress as possible? I don't think I'm going to be able to save this chainmail, so I'm going to just kill one with a parry. Chainmail plus bucket. And then we'll see where we're at after that. Alright, so could I kill these 2 gobloids without spending any more tiles? It seems unlikely, but let's see. So chainmail plus sword, I can kill 1. Alright, we'll do that. I'm not going to dick around. We'll just do this, use up the rest of the sword. If I had an extra gold, I would have bought another sword. And then now, I'll try not to use up another tile. I'm not going to calculate it. We'll just see what happens. Oh yeah, this actually does work, yep. So I can take a hit thanks to the healing potion. And then I can kill the thing off. So I'm left with 6 or 5 tiles, pretty good. Maybe you could do 6. With other characters, you can leave a lot more tiles a lot more reliably. But with Bruno, I'm pretty happy with 5. Now, when playing on the harder difficulties, definitely look at what's coming up next, because you need to make short-term choices to deal with that. We have these guys here, which just do 2 damage, but it's always blitz. They have 5 health, not 4, but it does mean that with a chainmail, I can parry and take a total of 2 damage, or if I have 1 extra attack, no damage at all. All right, so let's take a look at our perks. So we can't take Savage, which is fine because this thing is garbage anyway. This is actually just a really bad... This is just horrible. So attacking with 2 weapons, that doesn't happen very often. Crusader, when's my health going to be full? This is trash anyways. And then Devoted, I mean, I guess I'll take it. Extra Blessings just means an extra thing that you can discard for a health. It was a very, very bad pick. Over here... No, I would have actually taken this because I can't use it right away, but this can be really good later on, and it combos well with some other perks. So putting things to sleep is very strong. I think I need something a little bit stronger. We're going to take some more armor. 3 gold is expensive, but I think I got to get some power there. So here, looking mainly for weapons and good armors, this is one thing that's good about Bruno is that he has a lot of good armors in the pool, but not this. This is just kind of bad. I mean, 2 gold for 4 armor is okay, but you're gonna have other items in your inventory, so this just gets more expensive because of that, and that kind of sucks. Execute is a really good one. I like having it a lot, because it lets you damage something and then kill it, and then that is a good way to get rid of tough enemies. However, the problem is that if I did this now, I would have 15 gems left, 20 if I sold something, but the other things I'd want to buy cost 30, not 20. So I feel a little bit uncomfortable getting just this because it only kills 1 enemy and not multiple. I love these lock boxes. They're great. You know, you pick it up and you get a random item. It's a draft, so you get a choice of 3, so you might get something that's worth a lot more than 2, or you can just pick something that meets your needs in a situation. Get a little bit uncomfortable about this just because it is a little bit random, and I want something that definitely helps. So these damage you, but you do more damage with them. The main issue is I'm up against enemies who are blitz. So for this particular next one, I'm actually not going to benefit that much from this because they still hit me before I damage them. We'll grab this Claymore. It's just 7 power twice for 3 gold. It's good in the late game. It's good to kill this bear that has a lot of health. So I'm not jazzed about it. I got a terrible perk, and there are some really strong perks in the game, so just getting a pass of a perk is bad, especially on the hardest difficulty on the 2nd level. And the shop wasn't killer either, but we'll do the best we can. So, got some blessings in here. They're usually not that... they're all Blessing of Magic. Okay, well, I get an extra copy of an ability. Unfortunately, all my abilities suck because I'm never ever going to use these. Now, I did get very lucky. So my 2 curses from New Game Plus 7, or New Game Plus 3, are the Curse of Silence. I don't care about this, because with Bruno, you don't have to use abilities. He's very non-ability reliant. This isn't to say he doesn't have some good ability tiles, and I'll definitely use a couple that show up, but I'm just going to leave these, and they're going to be worth 5 gems at the end. There are some curses that are very annoying, things that make stuff more expensive or that prevent you from healing. Those you basically have to pay 2 health to remove immediately. The fact that I got these is fantastic. Okay, so for dealing with these snot wolves, we'll grab the chest, because again, hardest difficulty, there's just no way I'm going to not take that chest. So the question is, what do I do here? I could buy the chainmail and then take 2 damage against a couple of snot wolves. I think that's actually a pretty good way to start. It basically means that my chainmail pays for itself. I spent 2 gold to get 2 health, and then I lost the 2 health here. And then, let me see, 1 gold. Yeah, I think we'll just do that again. The fact that I can basically just chew through 2 enemies with 1 chainmail for only taking 2 net damage is very, very strong. Now, I can't do it again because I'll go up to 4, then down to 2, then down to 0. But, note that these, by the way, when you pitch them, they don't give you a gold. That's the thing about this perk that annoys me. There are some perks that will be like, add 3 random items to the deck, or like add 3 random whatevers to the deck. And then if you don't use them, you can just pitch them for coins. But the blessing perk in particular sucks, because the blessings only get discarded for health, not for coins. Now, if I keep this around, it is worth 5 gems at the end. However, I'm skeptical. I said this thing right here in the short term is not much better than a chainmail, because the 4 armor doesn't actually matter. What matters is that I just block an attack, because the attacks from these snot wolves do 2 damage. Now, unfortunately, these guys have 9 health, so even with my claymore, 2 plus 7. Oh no, that does kill it. Hold on. All right, let's do math here, people. I'm just gonna not dick around. I'm gonna pitch that short sword, and I'm just gonna kill this barbarian. So that's what I mean by short-term thinking. Like, I just needed a way to kill that bear, and that item, that tile provided me with it. Okay, we're gonna pitch this for health and a coin. So it's just these 4 snot wolves next. Do I just get this because it's basically an extra use of chainmail? Would be nice, actually, is if I could get a sword. Because if I got a sword, which there's still 2 of in here, I could kill these without taking any damage, that with the chainmail. So I would just need to discard 1 tile. All right, I'm going to try to see what happens. So we'll do this. I'll pick this up just to heal for free. Okay, so unfortunately, I keep getting these stupid blessings, and then I have another curse coming. I mean, I could use the other tick of the claymore. I don't want to pitch this now because it actually doesn't give me coins. All right, here's what I'll do. We'll hedge our bets. I will take 2 damage against this one because, I mean, that is using my health as a resource. What's behind this curse? It is a sword. Okay. So, it's awkward. Because if I use up the chainmail, the problem is if you're using the sword and you don't use the chainmail, you're going to take 4 damage. And I'm never going to get 5 gold to get the sword and this other armor. So I could do something weird like, see, if these just gave gold, I could pitch one and buy the sword. I could do something weird like use the other tick of the claymore to kill this. I don't even know if that's correct, but we'll do it. That takes me 2 damage, gives me the coin. I can then pick up the sword and do this. I'm using up a lot of tiles, but I mean, the good news is that I still have these, which give me bonus gems at the end. And I think all I have to do actually now is just buy this bucket helm for the 2 healing, and then we're safe. So I can use the bucket helm to just block a damage. Actually, I didn't need to, because with the sword, yeah, I was gonna kill him in 2 hits. I was gonna take 4 damage and I had 6 health. So okay, I guess I was fine. So these blessings and the curses give me gems. It's weird, I actually did better in a way on this dungeon than the previous one. I had 11 tiles left over instead of 5. All right, so we got a pretty good tile here. I do like this helm a lot. You can't equip weapons. That's fine. 6 armor for 3 gold and 3 uses is great. This thing is fine. It's a good one to have. It's a nice upgrade over the sword, but we'll just take that. I know I'm going to take that no matter what happens. We got skeletons. So 3 armor is helpful. And against these skeletons, the bucket's good because you can actually parry this one and take 2 total damage and kill them thanks to the bucket. And the bucket has 3 uses. And it gives you 2 health when you buy it. So this is actually a really good level. This guy gets a bunch of armor because you kill other things probably before you fight him. But I got a claymore. That should help a lot against taking out this boss. Okay, this is a really unfortunate one. So overwhelmed means that there are 6 or more enemies on the board, which is not often that happens. This is really good. It's good to restore durability to items in your inventory. You can get extra uses of your armor, but you have to discard 2 items to get it. This is what I would have taken. When all visible tiles cost 0 to 5 gold, it allows you to take expensive tiles with impunity, basically, because you can just always randomize all the costs. Plus, there are some things that cost more than 5, and it brings them way down. Unfortunately, this is the one I cannot pick, so New Game 9 hurts me actually kind of a lot here. Because the other 3 stuff is not good, and this is what I would have taken, and it's much better than anything else. We'll take Champion. Flex is that tile that costs 5 gold and increases your strength by 1 for the rest of the dungeon. Basically, these are 3 tiles that I can pitch for gold and health, and they are worth 5 gems at the end. It's not good, but it's better than the alternative. So like right here, see, this is exactly the kind of thing that the Jester tile is amazing with. So this thing reduces the cost by 2 whenever you defeat an enemy, but if you Jester it down to 5, then you only have to kill a few enemies for it to be free, which is, you know, incredible. So you have some good enemies here. 10 damage to an enemy is pretty strong. This thing is actually not good. This thing is actually all right, but again, I've got these curses of silence, and Bruno doesn't really need abilities that much, so I'm not going to worry about it. With 70 gems, I definitely need to be buying stuff here. I will get this lockbox because I just love these and they are so helpful a lot of the time. I could re-roll, actually, and still have 30 gems left over to buy a 30 gem item. I think I'm going to do that because there's a lot of good armor, and this is not a premier weapon, so I'm going to just go for it. Okay, well, I'm not thrilled about it. This thing's very expensive, but very good. This thing I might just need to get because it gives me some extra strength. I'm not getting extra strength from other sources, and this is expensive. I already have some expensive items. It's going to be hard for me to afford stuff. So I'm not thrilled about what has happened here. We'll get rid of this trash that I literally never use, and we'll see what happens in the Boneyard. I'm glad that this came up, though, because I want to demonstrate why the bucket is so good against skeletons. So imagine you have a chainmail and you parry them on the first attack. Prior to New Game +4, you would then hit it 3 times before it hit you once, and you'd kill it. But now that they have 7 health, you'd go parry, hit, and then when you hit them, they don't die, so they deal 2 damage to you, and then you kill them on the next attack. So they do 2 damage to you if you parry them with a chainmail. However, if you parry them with a bucket, you take the 2 up front, parry their second attack, and then hit, and then you hit them again before they kill you. So 1 armor and 2 armor are equivalent against these skeletons in terms of the net damage that you take. However, the bucket costs 1 gold less and has 1 more use. So against skeletons, just so you know this, when you play on New Game 4 and higher, the bucket is literally better than chainmail. So just keep that in mind. Now I have a bit of an awkward situation here because I need a gold to get this bucket and I cannot attack the skeletons without it. So I can just take this health vial. I don't want to pitch the lockbox though, so I'd have to hope that something behind the lockbox is worth pitching and pitch something else anyways. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is pitch one of these chainmails. This gives me the gold that I need to buy the bucket, and with this, I can now actually kill 3 skeletons, going down to 1 health, and then just see where I'm at. A good piece of advice too is, like, in the 3rd level, you have to kind of cut back on how much you worry about having gems left over, because you can get into real analysis paralysis, always trying to save gems, and I just find that to be, you know, a big headache and oftentimes just not worth it. Because, you know, it gets pretty hard here. You have a lot of stuff. You got to just focus on killing things. Now, I have a bit of a problem here. We got another curse from New Game Plus 7, and this one is bad. It's very, very bad. So the cost of everything is increased by 1. This has to go. I could kill a skeleton and then heal and then get rid of it. But the fact of the matter is I just need to get rid of this at some point anyways. There's no way I can keep this around, so let's just do it now. And this means I cannot kill my remaining skeleton, unfortunately. Which is unfortunate indeed, because I would have liked to get one of these 3 health or 3 gold items. I think probably this one, because the 4 is enough to parry things. I don't need 6 at the moment. I'll probably save the 6 for the boss. And then the spider bites are actually quite useful that I get for parrying. So what I'm going to do, I guess, now is pick up this health potion. Not going to worry about saving gems. Just drink the whole thing. Kill another skeleton with the bucket. Taking 2 damage. Got a free inventory here, and I'm going to have 3 gold, which is a very, very nice tilting point. And before anything weird, oh, what is this? When you defeat an adjacent, that's actually really good. It's basically like an extra gold, but of course, this is so bad if you think about it. It gets removed from the board, and it gives you a coin when you defeat an enemy. But if the blessings could just be discarded for gold to begin with, you could just discard it for gold without having to kill an enemy and have it be adjacent to an enemy. So that blessing is just terrible. All right, so let's get this armor, and I want to think about whether I want to take on this guy. So these are like the regular skeletons, except they have 2 armor and they do 3-2, 3-2 instead of 2-1, 2-1. So if I were to parry it. And then, so I have 9 health to chew through. Spider bite. If I can show it, can I actually? Is it possible to get a thing to show what that is? Yes, it's poison 3. So the enemy takes 3 poison damage at the beginning of its turn, then 2, then 1. I should probably calculate how that works instead of just diving into it, but we're just gonna dive into it. I'm gonna discard that mainly to get this enemy to appear. And then we're just going to see what happens. So, pop. He parried. Oh, right. I can't use the abilities while Curse of Silence is on the board. I completely forgot about that. All right. Well, we're going to have to get rid of it because I'm going to need those spider bites. Okay. So, if I hit it for 2, and then this is 3, that's 5. So, I am going to take the 3 damage, which is a problem. Okay, so how are we gonna swing this? I could say at this point chainmail is one of my worst items, sell it and take my chances with the lockbox, just to see what I get before making any further commitments. Do I have anything I'd rather sell than chainmail? Oh yeah, these flexes. It's a bit unlucky they're all at the back because they're just, I mean, I'm just never gonna buy this. I would need some sort of ability to let me buy 5 gold things, kind of cheating them into existence. Okay, I'm gonna sell this. I could do this. This is the sure thing. 3. And with a spider bite, that does kill a skeleton. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8. These have 9 to start, so it still hits me if I just go for it before I have shed its armor. Or I could buy the lockbox. I'm gonna get the lockbox. We're gonna see what happens. Okay, this is a pretty good pickup. Crowbar. Really, really incredible here. I would have definitely gotten it as a reward if it was offered. So what this does is it lets you strip armor from an enemy that has armor, and you get a 1-use plate armor in your inventory. So I'm not going to do it to this guy. I'm going to do it to him after I've killed all the other enemies because he gets an armor every time an enemy dies. So I want to wait for him to get all of his armor, and then I'm going to strip it all from him. So this was an incredible grab from that lockbox. Now, I do this, and what? With 7, unfortunately, he will damage me if I don't get like a sword or one of these. So what I think I'm gonna do, yeah, it's just rough. I take damage no matter what unless I use an exorbitant amount of resources on these enemies. Okay. We just gotta bite the bullet. I am gonna go here, we'll spider bite it, and I'm gonna use this plate armor. That way I take no damage. It's a bit unfortunate. And these I'm definitely just going to be selling. There's no way I'm going to buy even 1, let alone more than 1. All right, so gotta watch out for this. I do have to get rid of it if I want to use these spider bites. Ooh, what are the other enemies? There is another armored skeleton in there, which I want to crowbar for sure. Okay, what I think I'm gonna do is, gosh, if I get this pipe sword, it's very committal. It's gonna be difficult to buy both of these things. I'm gonna use my health as a resource. We are going to parry this thing and just use the spider bite on it to avoid having to take another attack. And then with 3, I think I'm gonna get this claymore. So this allows me to just whack one of the basic skeletons to death. Getting this enemy to come on. I need to take damage. Okay, so I'll make this go away so that I take damage, so that when I peel off this armor and get the armor in inventory and I get the 2 health from it, notice it does work. It gives you an armor in your inventory, which triggers Bruno's stamp of getting 2 health every time you get an armor. Perfect. And so now I will get rid of this enemy here. I am going to take some damage in the process. I'll take 3 damage to kill it. However, I'm fine with that because now I need to kill these 2 skeletons, and once they're both dead and this guy has accrued maximum armor, I will strip it with the last tick of the crowbar. So the question is, do I save out for this helm, or do I buy one of these crappy things? I think actually, I wish I had another chainmail to use against these. It sucks that I sold a chainmail. See, now I wish I had the chainmail because then I could take just 2 damage to kill these guys. It would be very efficient. As it is, I'm in a little bit of a pickle against these skeletons. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to get a pipe sword. It kind of works like a chainmail in that I can use 1 tick of it to only take 2 damage. Unlike a chainmail, it didn't heal me when I got it, but that's fine. So this just allows me to clear off these skeletons. Got 1 HP left. I now strip away the armor from our maximally buffed up dude, get the health, and I have to think about whether I care about this spider's bite. The first one is a 4, so I could parry that first one, and then I could parry, and then there's a 5, and I can parry that one. I think I do want to be able to use the spider bite though, so I am gonna get rid of this. And let's go into this. This is a little bit dicey. I'm not gonna finish this attack right here. I will at some point basically get to the Z step and then run away from the battle. I'm really on thin ice here, but I think this actually works. And it's one of those games where if you miscalculate, you lose. So I do this to parry that. So his 5 turn is skipped. And then it'll be 4 and I'll parry with the other plate armor, skipping his next 5 turn as well. And then the turn after that, he is going to be sleeping. So I can actually get this other 2 damage in, go to his sleeping turn, and then back off. Okay, so that all happened. Now, is there any? So he's on a 4 attack turn, so I can't just do nothing. If I could buy this, I'd be fine. I'm now doing a bit of analysis paralysis to see if I can avoid using a tile. And clearly not. Okay, so since I cannot avoid using a tile, we will just take the easy way out. We're just going to buy this plate helm, parry, and then he'll die before he attacks me again. Alright, so we made it through a third of the game, though of course it only gets harder from here. Got a lot of gems left over, which is great. Now over here we have, oh, this is really tragic. Okay, so over here we have pretty decent choices. Honestly, the crossbow is very nice. It also combos well with the execute tile that kills a damaged enemy and it costs 1 gold. So you can damage something with a crossbow then execute it. I am, however, going to take hamstring. This is a good ability. It does mean that I now need to eat those curses that prevent me from using abilities. That's fine though. I really like this a lot because there's just a lot of wacky attacks that this takes care of. It takes care of if they shield you. It cancels the blitz. It cancels unblockable, which can be really good. So this is a real workhorse of an ability. I definitely want to take that when I can see it. Now, unfortunately, we have the best thing in the game for us, just a flat +1 damage bonus, except for when you have a weapon equipped. Luckily, there are 2 other good things here. Hornet deals +1 damage against poisoned enemies, and it inflicts a poison when you attack with a weapon, so it makes all your weapons essentially do +1 damage, kind of, because like you damage them and then they're poisoned and they take that damage before they attack you. So it's a +1 damage basically with weapons. And then there's this. This is a very high risk, high reward type of tile. So you no longer get 1 health when discarding a tile, but you do get 2 health when you kill an enemy. I am actually going to grab this. Hornet is good, but I like going for the vampire approach. It just allows you to be a little bit more aggressive and taking damage when fighting enemies. Just make sure you have other ways to heal. So we've got these, which don't do very much damage. You gotta just be careful. They drop 3 armor into an enemy in the same column when they drop in, so you have to try to remember to not let them drop into columns that have an enemy in them already. We got these guys who do 4 damage, so 4 block is extremely good against them. And then these guys, which if you can parry the first attack with chainmail, they will only do 1 damage to you total. So they're devastating if you cannot parry this, but as long as you can parry that with the chainmail, you're fine. So Bruno's good against this because he's got those 2 chainmail. Chainmail's a bad card, honestly, but it does let him deal with globbers really well for the entire run. Now, going into the shop, I'm very curious to see here what I'm going to get. Okay, so I think this is fun. You can block indefinitely with this thing, but you need to pay a gold each time you do. However, I am a little bit pressed for gold, so I'm not interested in this. However, crowbar, absolutely. This is just such a good item. And in this level, it also means that I can actually tactically allow the druids to give armor to their buddies so that I can use this, get 2 health and a plate armor. Now, this stuff, execute, is good to pick up at some point. This is fine. You can do this and try to like get more gold to buy more expensive things. Like I can discard, you know, for example, one of these Janko swords that I still have, and then get the 5 gold and use the 5 gold to buy a to buy one of these flexes, for example. So there is some merit to taking this. However, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this execute. It is nice just to have an out against difficult things. And I want to get rid of this. Remember, you can pay 30 gems to get rid of these curses from your deck. So doing that is nice because that one I always need to deal with. And I also eventually want to get rid of these curses of silence because now that I have hamstring, I'm going to pretty much always want to use it. So I will need to get rid of them eventually, but since there was nothing in the shop that was just incredible, I wanted to spend the gems instead to get rid of a curse. Now I have to get rid of something, so we'll get rid of the other slash that I never use, and next to go will be these short swords. Of course you can say, well, Boris, but you can sell these to the Dragon's Gold in order to get the 5 gold you need to buy a flex. That's true, but you can also pitch any item to that. It doesn't have to be the short sword, and if you're pitching this, it's because you're making room for another item, usually. In fact, I could do a bit of a tactical move. I could sell this health vial and buy this, which lets you have a renewable source of healing. I would have gotten this, but I don't want to replace my other health potion because this is really good. It's just 4 free health. Now, what I could do is I could sell one of these swords. Actually, that's probably correct. I'm going to sell a sword, and I'm going to put the potion in its place. So I'm never going to buy 3 of those swords, but I might sometimes want 2 health potions. Okay, that's where we're going to pause. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon to look at the next 3 rooms of this dungeon. Take care.